Today, let me talk about ministering angels. This past week, the mother of Kendra Mason was a 17-year-old girl, one of the 17-year-olds who murdered last week. And there was a boy and a girl, and the 17-year-old girl, name was Kendra Mason. Her mother called her mother, shared with her that we were organizing a prayer vigil, and we were praying for her and ministering to her. And she said, "Man of God, this may sound strange, but Sunday morning, I had a dream," and she said, "in my dream, God showed me a chariot going up, and I saw parts of it in my dream, and I saw my daughter being taken up, and I saw the young man who was slain along with her being taken up, and I didn't understand it. So this morning, I sought the Lord, and the Lord said to me, your daughter was an angel. She was a sign. She served as a chariot to lead the other young man to heaven." And she said, I mentioned this to a preacher, and he said to me that my theology wasn't sound. And I said to her, I said, preachers don't know everything, particularly about the spirit realm. Years ago, I was, those of you who know me know that sometimes I can be quite impatient. Got much better. I've got much better. I've gotten much better. I've got not much merch better. Y'all need to know the Lord has dealt with me. Don't y'all think I've gotten much better? Listen, y'all, I was in the office of an insurance agent, and I was irritated, and this is in '93, I'll never forget this. There are days when we just don't want to be bothered, even though we're saved, even though we have the Holy Ghost and speak in tongues. Even though we're on our way to heaven and enjoying the trip, there are days when in our flesh, it seems like we just don't want to be bothered. And so I sat in the office, and she was so sweet. She was being so polite. Her spirit was so calm, and she was asking me questions, and I was giving short answers. You know how we do. She asked me where I lived, and I said, I faxed it over yesterday. And then she was asking some more information. I said, why would y'all have me doing all this, and then when I get here, I have to give you the same? I was just acting the fool, y'all. I'm just talking about me. I know y'all don't have those kind of moments when you just out the box, So as I was talking, I noticed that every time I sought to just be indignant, you know how we can be, she always responded in such a smooth, nice, and all of a sudden there was a quickening, and God said she has the Holy Ghost. And so, as she was speaking to me, she had asked me if I needed some particular coverage, and I said no, and she looked at me and she said, I'll never forget. She said, so what do you do? I said, I'm a minister. You're a pastor? I said, no. She said, not yet, but you will be. And when she said that, I said, oh God, here we go. Here comes the Holy Ghost convicted. And so I started talking, and you know that when you have the anointing and when you have the power of God, you can break down and you can war against, and you can bring out the best in someone, even when they're having a bad day, even when they're in a bad mood, if you will. And so as she talked to me, she started sharing with me a story. Everybody got a story. She said to me, she said, I just got back to work because I was in a bad accident. She said, I was in a coma for 12 months. She said, I was on my way out of town, Dr. Scott, and a drunk driver crossed the line and hit me and my children head on. She said, when the drunk driver hit me, all I could think about was my children, and she said, I left the vehicle and I shielded their bodies. She said that when the truck hit them, the vehicle went up in flame, and she and the children were thought to be dead. on the scene to look at the accident. They were saying there are no survivors. But she said what she saw when this truck hit her. She saw her father, who had made his transition, and her oldest brother come into the vehicle, take her out, and then go back in and get both of her children and put them in the ditch. And she said that the rescues came on the scene, I'm going somewhere, y'all, and assessing the wreckage and said there are no survivors, but they heard her moaning and yelled out, and there she was in the ditch. And so she said she laid in a coma for 12 months. She said when she was in a coma, her spirit transcended time. I'm talking about the spirit realm because some of y'all need to know it's something beyond this plane here. She said as she laid in the coma, she was there in the coma, and she said that she watched people come to assume that she was going to die. She said that she can remember going to where she lived. She can remember seeing people say, well, we need to think about putting her in a convalescent home. We need to figure out who's going to watch her because she's been here for weeks. She said, and that's why you need to understand this, she said she heard her brother-in-law say to her sister, you need to go ahead and just make a decision because she's going to die anyway. She said this was about the 11th month. She said when that man said that she's going to die anyway, she said that she heard the Spirit of the Lord say, it's not your time. She said that when she laid in a coma, she could hear what people were saying, but she said that she looked up and she saw angels all around. And when she came back in her body, the doctor walked in the room and she was sitting up waiting for the doctor. And she said that they sent all kinds of experts. They sent all kinds of people onto her bedside, trying to evaluate, trying to ask how in the world. And so she got up and she got well. And by this time, as she was talking to me, I was amazed because here this woman was shattering my theology, y'all. She was telling me how her spirit transcended time and she was able to hear conversations with people, so much so she went on to tell me that the doctor said to her, there is no way you should have recovered. She said to me, I'm telling you this because I want you to know that the kind of ministry that you thought you was going to have, you're not going to have. She said to me, you're not going to be an ordinary preacher with an ordinary congregation. She said to me, man of God, God's got something more for you. Of course, when she said that to me, I did not quite understand the more that she was talking about. And so I said that to say that there is something beyond this plane. We have mastered living on this plane. We've mastered this. We are used to, we're so familiar with this dimension. It's time now to demystify the mystical. Did y'all hear me? This is a series I'm doing right now, just in case. It's time for us to demystify the mystical because there's so many things around us going on and the world is seeking answers. We have been saved so long. We've been in church so long. We call ourselves believers so long. We don't even have a clue. We have been relegated by professional clergymen to just this suit, just this out-of-court body. We are just locked into this whole routine of religiosity, just coming to church Sunday after Sunday, Bible study, wearing white, wearing collars, wearing different color robes, doing anniversaries, and I realize it's something so much more than that. The buzzword of this hour has been parading before us so much. All of us have been hearing about the next dimension and the new dimension, and the next buzzword is going to another dimension. But it's too many of us who don't know anything about what we're talking about when we say next dimension, even the preachers.